I can respect the Pistons.
Every day I gotta dominate, super focused, gotta concentrate. I've been a threat, I intimidate. Now hold up, let me set it straight. They said I couldn't, let me demonstrate. Killing shit, I assassinate. That fake shit can't associate. When I drop a track, that's an earthquake.
Hi, I'm Blind, and welcome to me learning about the NBA. Today we'll be doing a viewer's request to react to the 1989 Pistons team. Look. You thought that I wasn't about to rap. I'm a nigga who always about to snap. Anytime, I'm like a fucking Hulk. No Hogan. Look, I'm about to make a slogan. Look, tap
When I say
in.
the 1989 Detroit Pistons, what are some of the words about them that come to mind? Intense, physical, violent, the bad boys? Those are some common choices.
Oh, yeah,
but
this
what
about
about
the
deepest
Pistons.
team in NBA history? What about greatest team of
Don't like them. Don't like them because of what the fuck they did to Michael Jordan. Okay? If y'all didn't see my reaction to that, bro, go check it out, bro. It's in the NBA playlist. But let's see. Let's see if I'll end up respecting them. I don't like dirty basketball. Let's get to it.
all time? Despite the unpopularity of those statements, there's actually more merit to it than most people realize. As much as me and my dad hated the Pistons in years past for, in my opinion, their overly physical and instigating nature, we've also never failed to recognize how talented, skilled, and simply good that team really was. One of the best collections of talent the league has ever seen. Leading the team at the point guard spot was one of the greatest ever at that position.
I don't know if you're really talented if you gotta abuse one man. Like, come on now.
The dazzling 27-year-old Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah was one of the greatest dual threats of all time, as he could beat you in multiple ways, whether it was as a scorer or as a distributor. You had to respect both aspects of his game, and he was incredibly difficult to keep up with, as he was also one of the greatest ball handlers of all time. Before Kyrie Irving and Allen Iverson were impressing audiences and confusing defenders with their incredible handles, that was Isaiah Thomas. On the season, Isaiah averaged 18.2 points, 8.3 assists, and 1.7 steals on 46.4% shooting. These numbers were nice, but they were actually a little bit below his usual standards, and a big part of that was the fact that less was required of him this year, as Detroit was loaded with so many offensive weapons this season. Joining Isaiah in the backcourt was the 6'3", 25-year-old Joe Dumars. Joe, over time, has become one of the more overlooked all-stars of NBA history. He was just beginning the prime of his career and put up averages of 17.2 points, 5.7 assists, and 2.5 rebounds on 50.5% shooting. Beyond his solid efficiency from the field as a guard, he also shot 85% from the free throw line and 48% from three-point range. He didn't shoot many three-pointers, but when he did, he made it basically half of the time. Joe was one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA, as he made first team all-defense this season and would go on to make 5 all-defense teams in total. His defensive prowess was incredibly crucial to their success, considering the fact that he would often be the one guarding guys like Michael Jordan, Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, and Dennis Johnson. On top of all of this, he would save his signature performance for that year's NBA Finals, which we'll get into more later. Starting the season at the small forward position was the 33-year-old legendary scorer Adrian Dantley. He was productive for about half of the season, but after butting heads with the team leader Isaiah Thomas for some time, Dantley was traded for another star and a great scorer as well,
he got packed the fuck one out of here.
29-year-old Mark Aguirre. Mark had averaged 25 points per game in the 7 years with Dallas before he joined the Pistons, and although he was capable of continuing to put up superstar numbers, less was required of him on the super team Pistons. In the second half of that year with Detroit, Aguirre averaged 15.5 points and 4.2 rebounds on 48% shooting. Starting at the power forward spot was the team's enforcer, the 6'10" Rick Mahorn. From a scoring standpoint, he was certainly the least talented player in the Pistons starting five. With that being said, he still had plenty to offer. He was one of the toughest and most physically punishing players in the entire league, and a solid defender as well. If a wing managed to get past his defender and attack the rim, there was a good chance Mahorn was the guy who was meeting him there and making him pay for it. The starting center was the infamous Bill Laimbeer, who I've said in a previous video is my choice for the dirtiest player in NBA history. From a quote from the legendary Larry Bird, he said Rick Mahorn would try to hit you on defense, but Bill Laimbeer would try to hurt you. The flagrant foul did.
You know what I would do to that Bill Laimbeer nigga? You know what I would do to that built-in bear nigga? I would embarrass him.
Shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that?
Did not exist in the NBA until the 1990 season, meaning that up to that point, Lambier would get his money's worth for every foul he committed on the offensive player. Due to this, seeing Lambier in the middle of an all-out brawl was quite a common occurrence. With that being said, the physical nature of the 6'10 center is what he's known and remembered for, but beyond that, he's actually got a lot of skills on the court. He was one of the elite rebounders in the game, and a former rebounding champion. Along with that, he was a pretty good three-point shooter and a solid stretch 5 option before it became popular in the NBA. With this skill set, Lambier would often successfully run the pick and roll and the pick and pop with Isaiah Thomas. On the season, he averaged 13.7 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks on 50% shooting, 35% from three-point range, and 84% from the free throw line, making him a rare and extremely efficient NBA center. The starting unit was scary enough as it is, but coming off the bench were two men who were both worthy of being a 6th man of the year. The first was a man we know very well, the 27-year-old tenacious Dennis Rodman. In only 27 minutes per game, he averaged 9 points and 9.7 rebounds. He didn't shoot the ball much, but when he did, he made nearly 60% of his shots. His greatest attribute at the time was without question his defense. He had incredible stamina and was very quick, and would frequently make the offensive player uncomfortable. Despite the fact that he was coming off the bench, Rodman still made first-team All-Defense that season. That should tell you how good he was. The second guy off the bench was known as the Microwave, the 6'2" Vinnie Johnson. Vinny got that nickname because he was known to heat up quickly and score plenty of buckets in sudden spurts, which made him a terrific spark off the bench. That season, he put up 13.8 points, 3.1 assists, and 3 rebounds on 46% shooting in only 25 minutes per game. Rounding out the rotation were solid pieces like James Edwards and John Salley. When we look at the talent on this squad from top to bottom, you can see why I think they have a strong case for the deepest team in NBA history. They were led by the Hall of Fame head coach and basketball genius Chuck Daly, who famously earned his spot as the head coach of the Dream Team. Chuck displayed as a leader what the Pistons were all about, as he embodied their passion and intensity in his fiery coaching style. Although this unit was poised to win their first championship in the '89 season, it's worth quickly noting that had it not been for a highly controversial foul call in Game 6 of the '88 finals, known as the Phantom Foul, then these Pistons may have been entering the '89 season as the defending champions. But that's for another video, so let's continue. Looking at the results of this group over the 1989 season, we see that the Pistons finished with a league-best 63-19 record. They statistically had the 3rd best defense and the number 7th ranked offense that season. They beat teams by an average of 5.8 points over the season. They dominated the playoffs with a 15-2 record, although they did not have that season's MVP, who was Magic Johnson. This Detroit team played an unselfish style of basketball where everyone contributed and made the extra pass. They had 5 players who averaged double-digit scoring, and defensively, they worked as a unit as well. What really makes this team stand out wasn't just their unique style and intensity, it wasn't just their level of talent on paper or their unity as a group, but in large part, it was because of how they dominated the postseason and who they dominated. They swept the Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish-led Boston Celtics in the first round. Then in the semifinals, they swept the Ricky Pierce and Sidney Moncrief-led Milwaukee Bucks. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they beat Jordan, Pippen, and the Chicago Bulls in 6 games. Waiting for them in the NBA Finals was the team that defeated them last year, the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers, who were actually seeking their 3rd straight title, led by the MVP, Magic Johnson. The Lakers had also gone a perfect 11-0 through the Western Conference playoffs, so at the very least, another long, hard-fought series was expected between these two juggernauts. But that didn't happen. Joe Dumars led the way as they convincingly swept the Lakers in 4 games to secure their first ever NBA championship, which many people think should have come 1 year earlier. Dumars was the finals MVP, putting up numbers of 27.3 points and 6 assists on 57.6% shooting. It is important to note that Magic Johnson did injure his hamstring in the 3rd quarter of Game 2, so the Lakers might have posed a greater threat if that had not occurred. Regardless, this was an all-time great team that would go on to win the title again the following year. Detroit had the players, skill sets, and talent to be an elite team in any era under any rules of basketball. But if you play by their rules, you're going to be hard-pressed to find any team who could beat the 1989 Detroit Pistons. Let me know in the comments section if you think the 89 Pistons are the greatest team of all time. And also
Y'all
let me know if there's
too.
any team in league history that you think could beat them in a 7-game series playing by their rules. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content.
I can respect the Pistons. I respect them. I don't like dirty basketball. I really like. I don't like fouling people so much that my playing style is to avoid them. My friends will tell you I avoid niggas. I don't drive into people when you know what I'm saying, when I drive to the paint. I avoid. I'm you know what I'm saying, evasive with it. You know what I'm saying? Use all types of maneuvering to get around my opponents rather than run into them, which is actually one of my weaknesses. You feel me? Because it's more energy costing. You feel me? And it's just like too many calculations going in my head to avoid people. Sometimes I do need to just, you know what I'm saying, use a little bump. You feel me? That's what I'm learning to do now. So I do respect the Pistons. They beat 11-0 Lakers at that time. You can't discredit them. They're really a legendary team. They got some solid players. Feel me? A super team is what I heard in that video. So respect all to them. Much love. Please let me know in the comments down below what videos you want to see me react to next. And hi, I'm the Blind Baller. You might not know my name. You may not care for my name, but this is a name you're going to know all too well. Blind Baller is the future, and the future is Blind Baller. Y'all stay tuned.
Shit. I'm the one calling the shots. I don't get stuck in the box. Feel like I've been through a lot, holding it down like it's tied to a rock. Everybody all talk, they ain't walking that walk. Learned it all on my own. Everything's self-taught. Headshot with the stainless. Blow their mind, now they brainless. Dreams of being on stages. Damn, the shit's outrageous. I can see all of the changes.